Top 40.
I'm David Perry for Kasem. Slipping a notch to number 4 is Matchbox 20. Singer Rob Thomas says his career in music began 8 years ago when he was 17. He says it started with, quote, a bunch of really bad cover bands and progressed to bad original bands, unquote. But eventually Rob found a band good enough to get a record deal, and Matchbox 20 was born.
American Top 20.
And that means we're up to the number 1 song in the USA. It's by a band whose lead singer says his songwriting was really cheesy. Rob Thomas says that growing up in Orlando, Florida, he had dreams of being a songwriter. He felt that there was so much that he had to say. Besides, he figured writing songs was a good way to meet girls. Well, recently, he came upon some of the songs that he wrote back then, and they were pretty bad. In his words, cheesy. Quote, they had lines in them like, I love you, don't you know? Oh, baby, please don't go. Rob says that really wasn't the sort of songwriting he wanted to do. But he also says his world was too narrow and confined for him to do anything else. And so he set out to see a bit of the world. For several months he traveled around the South, meeting people, watching and learning as much as he could. And then, with a bit more life to his credit, he tried writing songs again. They started getting deeper. And by the time he wrote the songs for his band's album, Yourself or Someone Like You, they had improved dramatically. One critic described Rob's songs as filled with lives that unravel as characters struggle to cope with difficult relationships and circumstances, unquote. And one of those songs deals with a woman who is disillusioned with life. As the lyrics say, she thinks happiness is a mat that sits on her doormat. Well, that song about disillusionment has touched a nerve with the public because, for the 11th week in a row, it's the biggest hit in the land. The number 1 song in the USA on American Top 20 is 3 a.m. by Matchbox 20.
American Top 40.
I'm Kasem. We're just 4 hits away from the number 1 song in the USA. Now, locked in for a second week at number 4 is a band that's played concerts all over the world, led by a singer who says his first concert experience was going to one, seeing Genesis on their Invisible Touch tour. Here's Rob Thomas and Matchbox 20 lending their touch to the top 40 with Real World.
American Top 40.
We're counting down the biggest hits of the week. Now we're up to the hit song If You're Gone by a super successful band whose leader says if you get into music looking for money and fame, you're probably in the wrong business. Despite the massive success that Matchbox 20 has had, their singer Rob Thomas firmly believes that success isn't the reason to go into music. For him, there has to be a higher calling, or it just isn't worth it. Rob says, quote, I think the best advice is to make sure that the light at the end of the tunnel is a good one. It can't be accolades, and it can't be fame, and it can't be success. So what should it be? Rob says, at the end of the day, it has to be the quality of the work. What you've got to do is to make good work. If you do, sooner or later, it'll all fall into place, unquote. Which is exactly what happened for Rob and his band. This week, they rise a notch to number 6 on AT40. Here's Matchbox 20 with If You're Gone.
Casey counts them down.
These are this week's top hits by the world's top stars. Here's a band whose leader says he's not bothered when critics attack his music. Rob Thomas says, quote, a critic's job is to critique. We are a successful mainstream band, so we're an easy target for that. It doesn't hurt me. Here's Rob with his band Matchbox 20 down a notch to number 12 with Bright Lights.
She got out of town. Casey's Coast to Coast.
And that means we're up to the number 1 song in the USA. It's by Rob Thomas, a singer who some critics say makes music for the masses. And that's not a compliment. Rob Thomas says he always thought being a successful musician would be the best thing in the world. He thought everyone would love him for being a success. And then he discovered it doesn't work that way. Quote, the more success I have, the more I get dismissed. Other musicians have accused me of clogging up the radio waves. They say I make corporate music for the masses. Rob says he was really hurt by that. And then he ran into John Bon Jovi at a party one night. John told Rob that people had been dismissing his music for 20 years. Rob says, quote, "He told me it comes with success." And he pointed out that the people who put him down vanished a long time ago. But he's still here. The trick is to believe in yourself and never worry about being cool. Cool doesn't last. Unquote. Rob doesn't worry anymore about being cool. He doesn't have the time. He's too busy making the music at the top of the chart. The number one song in the USA on American Top 20 for a fourth week is Lonely No More by Rob Thomas.
Casey's Coast to Coast.
We're counting down radio's hottest hits from 20 to number 1. Down a notch to number 9 is Rob Thomas, the singer who says his only other skill besides music is cooking.
American Top 20.
I'm Casey Kasem. We're counting down the hottest songs in the nation. Well, now we're up to the song Little Wonders. It's by a singer who used to have a southern accent, but the more singing he's done, the more it's gone away. Rob Thomas says he can hear his southern accent clearly on his first albums with Matchbox 20, but as the years have gone by, the accent has grown thinner and thinner. Rob says it may be a function of all the time that he spent traveling across America, or it may come from living in Westchester County, just north of New York City. Whatever the reason, quote, "My diction is crisper. My R's sound more like R's. It's not that I have a new accent. I just don't seem to have an accent anymore at all. I didn't do it on purpose. I just lost it." Well, he may have lost his southern accent, but he hasn't lost his ability to hit the charts. Time falls away, but these small hours, these little wonders still remain. This week, Rob Thomas edges down from number 5 to number 6.